Welcome to our very first live worldwide interactive event. We are here tonight breaking new ground. Nothing like this has ever been attempted before. Right now, you all are online with me from every corner on our planet. Welcome to you all. So I want to get started. This is the most exciting thing I've ever done. I've done a lot of things in my life. Of course, I'm honored to introduce Eckhart Tolle. Okay, so let's get started to read this book. I felt the shift that you talk about. One of the things that really occurred to me, how clear this message is. How did this come to be? How did this come through you?
Well, it comes out of the space of stillness. I had this strong impulse one morning, and I was in England still, knowing I have to move to the west coast of North America without knowing why. It's a strong knowing. So it's not through a decision-making process, just the realization I have to move there. I don't know why, but I have to go. Absolutely no doubt about it. I moved to Vancouver, and then I took a Greyhound bus to California. I said, why am I here? Somebody put me up in a room, and suddenly the strong stream came through. So rather than me wanting to write a book, there was a book that wanted to be written. Nature on the whole is a beautiful access point into inner stillness. So when you contemplate a flower without too much interference of the thinking mind, to actually truly look, this is what Jesus said, by the way. I mean, in churches you hear Jesus saying, look at the lilies of the field.
Yes.
And so when he said that, he wasn't just saying, look at the lilies of the field. He said, look.
Pretty? Yes.
He said, look, you really have to look, because there is something that you also have.
Well, I will tell you, it's an amazing, when you start to walk through a park and just let yourself be in the space without labeling the things, it's just, everything's vibrating and it's like, you know, scintillating.
Yes.
Everything's exciting.
Yes, and before, when you were involved in your mind,
yes,
perhaps you didn't even see it.
Never saw it. I see, yeah.
And so many people are so trapped in this continuous mental noise that absorbs their whole attention all the time. Every thought absorbs a stream of thinking, absorbs their attention. They don't see that the world around them is vitally alive.
Yeah.
So gradually, as people then grow older, the world around them becomes more and more lifeless and dead.
Right.
And that happens to them also.
And why is that? Because?
That is because you are run by mental abstraction. All the concepts and the thoughts in that are abstraction, it's not alive.
So you can't take in the information that's there to be received all around you because you're so you're in your head.
You're in your head. You're not present.
Right.
So you're lost in thought. I could say that the human condition is being lost in thought. Then that, of course, is the famous, what we call the voice in the head.
The voice in the head.
Some people have been asking about.
Which we'll be talking a lot about, the voice in the head.
So some people say, what voice in the head? It's that one.
That one. Kelly from Alton, Illinois, joins us via Skype.
So my question is to you, Oprah, how have you reconciled these spiritual teachings with your Christian beliefs?
I've reconciled it because I was able to open my mind about the absolute, indescribable hugeness of that which we call God. I took God out of the box because I grew up in the Baptist church and there were rules, belief systems, and doctrine. And I happened to be sitting in church in my late 20s. This great minister was preaching about how great God was and how omniscient and omnipresent. God is everything, and the Lord thy God is a jealous God. And something struck me. God is jealous of me? Something about that didn't feel right in my spirit. So that's when the search for something more than doctrine started to stir within me. And I love this quote that Eckhart has. This is one of my favorite quotes in chapter 1, where he says, man made God in his own image. The eternal, the infinite, and unnameable was reduced to a mental idol that you had to believe in and worship as my God or our God. Now, I think that's very eloquently put by Eckhart Tolle in chapter 1, That's one of the biggest questions that we have coming into our message boards.
Well, religion can be an open doorway into spirituality, and religion can be a closed door that prevents you from going deeper. I love reading the New Testament, and I also read the Old Testament. Sometimes there's some incredible jewels in there. But the truth that is deeper, that is expressed in what Jesus said, is much deeper than how the church interprets it. So there's no conflict between this teaching, which is purely spiritual, and any religion, because if you go deep enough into your religion, then you all get to the same place. It's a question of going deeper. So there's no conflict here. The important thing is that religion doesn't become an ideology. The moment you say only my belief or our belief is true, and you deny other people's beliefs, then you've adopted an ideology.
And so it's really a question of what you were saying to us earlier, that this material strikes a chord within you, something in you opens up, and once, feels alive and is awakened to that. And yet, there is the ideology that says what to you? What is the conflict for you?
Just thoughts on the afterlife, things like that. You in a lot of books, such as Tolle's, we get teachings from Buddhism or Hinduism, and those thoughts don't go along with, what I was raised to believe as a Christian.
Well, I am a Christian who believes that there are certainly many more paths to God other than Christianity. I'm a Christian who believes in my way, but I don't believe that it's the only way, with 6 billion people here on the planet.
We are reaching a crisis point. We are awakening now because we have to awaken if humanity is to make it to a next evolutionary level. We will destroy ourselves and the planet if we do not step out of the egoic consciousness, the collective ego. As much as 160 to 180 million human beings were murdered during the 20th century. Unbelievable insanity.
You say in the book how we're the species that will go and watch other people on film be maimed and killed and murdered for our entertainment.
Yes, it's amazing. You are not your thought processes. The thought processes are conditioned through thousands and thousands of years of conditioning. And there is dysfunction built into the very structure of our thought processes. So it's everybody's responsibility to become aware of their conditioned mental processes. Many people don't know that yet. They're totally one with the voice. They are the voice. Now, the voice, of course, is the conditioned thinking. The voice, what the voice says, is conditioned by your past, by your childhood, by your upbringing, by the surrounding culture. All those things condition your thought processes. So the essential thing is realize there's thought processes, and here I am as the awareness or the space for the thought. So you have to go deeper and reach a place within yourself that is unconditioned, expressed beautifully in the Old Testament, in the little saying, "Be still and know that I am God." It contains the entire wisdom of religion in those few words. So the eternal, the formless, the spirit is the essence of every human being. No matter how insane or conflict-ridden they seem to appear on the surface, within every human being, that remains untouched. There's nothing that anybody could have done to you, or nothing that you could have done to others to destroy that.
It's always there.
It's always there, and that is the grace of being here.
You first came to recognize this when you were about to kill yourself.
Yes. Sometimes humans have to reach a limit.
You were getting ready to kill yourself, said, "I can't live with myself any longer."
Yes.
Said that several times in your mind.
And then I became aware of the structure of the sentence, and said, if that's the case, then who is the self that I cannot live with, and who am I?
Wow.
And at that moment, a separation happened completely. My identity as me and my unhappy story
Died.
dissolved, because the I behind it suddenly woke up.
And then you go on to say, and I quote, that humanity is now faced with a stark choice: evolve or die.
Even if humanity did not survive as a species, no gain in consciousness is ever lost within the totality of consciousness. We are only forms that come out of consciousness, and consciousness is the evolutionary process of the universe. And we are here together as part of this evolution of consciousness, which comes through the human form. Consciousness can use and does use millions and billions of other forms,
yes,
and evolves through that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, we are not the form, we are not the body that we see. And of course, the form eventually is going to dissolve anyway, because then consciousness moves on. Consciousness is continuous evolution, continuous metamorphosis. It's a wonderful process.
But you do mean the end of our human species as we know it.
Yes, that is a possibility,
Yes.
but the fact that we are here tonight should give us hope and confidence that humanity is going to make it, because this is growing, and not just this teaching, there are other alive spiritual teachings. There is an enormous awakening happening on the planet. So nobody knows, I don't know the answer whether humanity is going to make it, but I do feel confident now, more so perhaps than before,
Yes.
that we are going to make it. So there's nothing wrong with manifesting things. The only illusion would be to expect things to provide some ultimate satisfaction in your life. Things can't do that. The world of form can't ultimately satisfy you. You can enjoy the world of form, but the true satisfaction doesn't come from there. The world can't do that. The world can't make you happy. Things cannot give you happiness.
Right.
Because happiness comes from a deeper place within you that you can only access in the present moment.
I just wanted to go back to spirituality and religion for a few moments, in the few moments we have remaining, because I know that's still such a major issue with so many of you. And you say on page 17 that the more you make your thoughts or beliefs into your identity, the more cut off you are from the spiritual dimension within yourself. And you also say on page 18, how spiritual you are has nothing to do with what you believe,
Yes.
but everything to do with your state of consciousness.
Yes. How spiritual you are means how present are you at this moment? Are you in your thoughts, or are you there as the awareness behind your thoughts?
Which is your spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stillness. So often in newspapers and the media, they always ask, well, what do you believe in? That is not an important question, what I believe in. The important question is, are you present at this moment? Not what your belief structures are.
I think people want to know what you believe so that they can label it and decide whether
Yes.
they're going to like you, accept you, or not.
Yes.
Yes.
And they want to know, do you believe the same thing that I believe? Because if you don't, you're my enemy.
And this book, as you say, again, as I said in the beginning, this isn't about creating more information for you to believe in.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And you don't want to be anybody's guru.
No. No. Don't make it into an ideology and then try to convince people that they must be present.
Right. I got it. Before we say goodbye, I want to thank you for being with me, all of you out there. This is just the most exciting thing I have ever done, being able to talk with you all and share this kind of information that allows all of us to get closer to who we really are, so that we can honor our life's purpose and calling here while we're on Earth.